So now we only have week 10 to look forward to. And we are going to discuss 3 notable games that we think everybody should be paying attention to. These are probably going to be the most talked about, the most tightly contested football games, and definitely some great matchups to look forward to. Thursday night football is going to be an interesting one. The Indianapolis Colts travel to their division rival Tennessee Titans, and this is a very interesting one because you have a top 5 defense in the Indianapolis Colts, you have a top 5 offensive line, but you have Old Man Rivers and who the hell knows what in the backfield, and a very questionable receiving core. On the other side of the ball, ever since the Titans lost Taylor Lewan, it seems like their offense has been stymied at every step of the way, and their defense without Logan Ryan looks like they are not as potent as they once used to be. That being said, what do you expect from this game moving forward?
I expect the Titans to come out on top in this game. The Colts, they're kind of falling off, and we saw that with Phillip Rivers actually being taken out of the game for a short period of time and being replaced because he just wasn't getting the job done. You know, they weren't scoring points. They were losing to Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens. And yeah, that defense is good, but Lamar Jackson should not be able to put up the points he is, especially against what is supposed to be the best defense in the league in the Indianapolis Colts. Like, they just couldn't produce, and when they did cause turnovers, the offense couldn't produce. I think it's time for Phillip Rivers to call it a career. I don't care if it's halfway through the season. At least be benched. Like they've gotta take this guy out. Please put Jacob Eason in. He's got a strong arm. He's accurate. He's not that mobile, but he's better than Phillip Rivers at this point. Like, he's the only way you're going to have a chance against the Tennessee Titans. This Tennessee Titans defense is getting better. They played much better this past week. I think that this offense is great. Ryan Tannehill is playing amazing. I think that the Colts are going to struggle just like they did against the Ravens, and it's probably going to be even bigger of a blowout than the Ravens game if Phillip Rivers stays in this game. Phillip Rivers needs to be done right now. Shut him down. End his career. I don't care. He was good for the Chargers in San Diego, and that was it. He's been done for a while. Just cap his career right now. I can't stand to watch him out on the field anymore because you're wasting so much talent. You've got great running backs. You've got great receivers. Do something with it. You can go.
You good? You sure?
I'm good.
Okay. The Indianapolis Colts knew that this year was chalked the moment they signed Phillip Rivers. Jacoby Brissett just ain't it. Jacob Eason was a guy that they targeted in the draft, and maybe they'll bring him on later in the season, but he's still getting used to the speed of the NFL and trying to learn as much as he can from a once great quarterback in Phillip Rivers. It seems to me that Phillip Rivers doesn't have the arm strength that he used to, which is what he relied on for all of his career. His ability to air out the ball and that vertical deep threat that he used to have just isn't there anymore. That coupled with the fact that T.Y. Hilton is a shell of himself, wasn't even active for this past week's game. They're struggling on the offensive side of the ball. Their lack of weapons, and Jonathan Taylor just has not worked out for them in his rookie year.
They got Michael Pittman back this week, and he did nothing. He's a bona fide star, a future star in this league. He should be able to be a difference maker right away, and he wasn't, and that's because of Phillip Rivers.
Nonetheless, the fact remains that there's a lot of issues with the Colts. That being said, the loss of Taylor Lewan has, again, like I said before, stymied the Tennessee Titans offense in the fact that the running game is not producing nearly as much as they did prior to his injury. The utilization of the tight end position has gone down tremendously. And that, coupled with the fact that Corey Davis and A.J. Brown are both dealing with injuries, definitely leads to question marks on the outside, wondering if this is enough for them to get back to where they planned on being. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they're struggling getting pressure. They're struggling with coverage, especially on the outside of the numbers. Malcolm Butler is not the same Malcolm Butler that they acquired in free agency. Letting Logan Ryan go was terrible for them, because his ability to command the secondary and just be a leader for this team, you can definitely tell that things have shifted and they're missing something out there. And to me, it simply goes back to his ability, Logan Ryan's ability. What's up?
Don't forget they did add Desmond King, and he definitely showed up for the Titans this past weekend with that touchdown. I know he just picked up the ball and returned it, but he's got some serious speed. He's a Pro Bowl special teamer. He can make a difference on this Tennessee Titans.
He's
defense.
A really good slot corner too, nickel corner.
And they got rid of Vic Beasley, who was probably cancer in that locker room. I would imagine everything has he was a problem from the get-go for them.
Yeah, he was a problem being late to meetings and just not caring at practice and just not giving a shit overall. And then it seemed like him coupled with the acquisition of Jadeveon Clowney, both of those roster moves taking up space for people who are willing to compete. Clowney hasn't done jack all since he wound up in Tennessee. He's done even less than he did in Seattle, and people were he sat as a free agent for a reason, because he didn't produce in Seattle. And it seems like Houston did him a favor, or did themselves a favor, by moving on from him at the time that they did. This is a really good game. It's a divisional game. Things can change for sure. I'll be interested to see the game within the game for this one would be the Colts defense versus Derrick Henry and that ability to run, because Derrick Henry is like an offensive lineman with the speed of a receiver. He's a Mack truck running down the field.
And then you got DeForest Buckner on the other side, 6'6" DeForest Buckner.
That's right.
Amazing for them. Absolutely. He shored up that run defense for the Colts, and that's why they've been so great this year, is the rest of the team can do their job without having to worry about the run game.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess with the Colts defense, they had some injuries early on, and I think they can really step it up against the Tennessee Titans. One thing to note about this game is this is the first time these two teams play each other this season, but they play each other twice in 3 weeks. So they play this week, then they go play different teams next week, and then they come back 2 weeks from now and play each other again. So they're going to get they're going to learn about each other very quickly. And what we see now may not be exactly what we see in 2 weeks. So I'll be interested to see how that all unfolds. Excuse me. Moving on, I want to take a look at another game on Sunday, the
Buffalo Bills
at the Arizona Cardinals. This one's very interesting to me because this, again, you're talking about an East Coast team going to the West Coast for a game. And it's a team that you only see once a year, once every 4 years, and you only go to once every 8 years. So most of these Buffalo Bills, being one of the youngest teams in the league, have never seen this Arizona Cardinals team. And this Arizona Cardinals team mostly hasn't seen this team because of how young they are. So many matchups to watch. We're looking at DeAndre Hopkins versus Tre'Davious White. We're looking at Kyler Murray and Josh Allen at the quarterback position, where two young great coaches, and Sean McDermott and Cliff Kingsbury. I just, there's so much to like about this. I'm very excited for this game. I think this is probably going to be my favorite game of the week.
For sure. This is the most exciting matchup we have in week 10. And it's going to be a big game for the coaches because they're fighting for Coach of the Year, both of them. And you have Josh Allen, who's still in the MVP race. I mean, we just saw a 400-plus yard game and 4+ touchdowns from Josh Allen against the Seattle Seahawks. This team is playing great on offense, and we saw what Tua Tagovailoa just did to them in his second game against the Arizona Cardinals, putting up over 30 points.
Right.
This Bills offense is going to thrive. They are going to absolutely thrive. But then there's Kyler Murray, who put up over 100 yards on the ground last week, can do that constantly. He can make anybody miss. This is a defensive team that has struggled this season, but kind of picked it up last week against the Seahawks, and they're going to need exactly that if they want to win this game. They're going to have to be that aggressive. They're going to have to keep Kyler on the move, try to contain him as much as possible. You don't want him just scrambling because he wants to. You're going to want him to scramble because he has to, and he's going to try to force that ball to be thrown away. You're probably not going to have to worry about too much about the run game. Chase, it doesn't matter if it's Kenyon Drake or Chase Edmonds. Both of them don't seem to be doing that well behind this offensive line in the primary running back role. So I don't think the Bills really need to worry about that. You got to worry about DeAndre Hopkins, arguably the best receiver in the game. Larry Fitzgerald, who shows up on occasion, and Christian Kirk, who's been a real stud for them as of late and can really be a deep threat for them. So the Tre'Davious White and Josh Norman got their hands full this week. It's going to be a better matchup. I'll be more focused on the Cardinals offense against the Bills defense than I will with the Bills offense against the Cardinals defense. Cardinals defense not playing that well. I think Josh Allen should have an easy time against them. I'll be curious to see if Kyler can keep up with them. And if history shows us anything, Kyler can keep up with anybody. So right. I expect this to be a high-scoring game. It should be a great game. I'm going to take Bills on top because it makes more sense that the Bills defense can stop the Cardinals than the Cardinals defense can stop Josh Allen.
It'll be interesting. One thing to note, taking a look at what the Cardinals did last week, they played the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins defense is severely underrated for what they have been able to do. You're talking about on the outside, Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. You're talking about a defensive front that is consistently getting better over time. All the free agent acquisitions that they've been able to make over the last 2 years are extremely important and panning out in various ways for them. So, I would almost say that what you saw from the Dolphins defense is probably what you're going to get from the Bills defense. I think they're right on par with each other. And if you asked me that earlier in the season, I probably would have said the Bills by far and away were better. But I think the Bills defense has come down to earth a little bit more. I think the Dolphins are playing at an extraordinary level right now.
Yeah, it will be very similar. I do agree with that.
And again, the reason I bring that up is because Kyler Murray was still able to put on a show. So if you're expecting that, if you can, if he was able to do that against the Dolphins, I expect that he'll be able to do that against the Bills as well. And I think it'll be very interesting. The one person that you didn't talk about is the revitalized utilization of Larry Fitzgerald at the slot receiver. They utilized him a couple times over the middle. It's nothing notable, but his ability to be that security blanket and almost act like a tight end because he runs short underneath routes. He's very sure-handed. He's hard to take down. He's a thick body. I think that helps Kyler Murray with Christian Kirk and DeAndre Hopkins. You have the deeper middle of the field plus the very deep outside of the field. And then you have, Larry Fitzgerald on the underneath stuff if you need to go to him there. But they have such amazing talent. It'll be interesting to see. I think Chase Edmonds will definitely get another opportunity to showcase his talent. The young running back 2 weeks ago was extremely productive. Last week he faltered a little bit. I'd be interested to see what he's able to do in both the running and the passing game in this matchup.
Yeah, as a New England fan, I am imploring the NFL to bump this game up to Sunday Night Football and take the Patriots Baltimore Ravens game out of this spot, because this matchup is far beyond better than what we're about to get. We're going to get a blowout by the Baltimore Ravens, and no one wants to see that. We'd rather see this in prime time. Don't make this a 4:25 game. Make this an 8:20 game, and make the Patriots play at 4 o'clock. This is the matchup to see in prime time. This is going to be fireworks every single drive, and that's what you want to see in a primetime game, not a team going 4-0 over and over and over.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to see this as a Sunday Night Football game. My only concern is that I don't know if the NFL is willing to do that to the Buffalo Bills, because they would, the Arizona Cardinals, because they'd be playing at 5 o'clock their time. I don't know if that's something that they want to change to on the Tuesday of that week without at least a week more notice.
We just saw them change the week 11, one of the week 11 primetime games. So yeah, I would expect that there won't be any changes to the schedule. It's wishful hoping or wishful thinking, but this game, enjoy this one, because it's probably going to be the last good game of Sunday.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then finally, the last game that we want to talk about is the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. Again, yet another divisional matchup that we have going on here. Mr. Unlimited Russell Wilson and his
so unlimited.
Well, his partner in crime, DK Metcalf, going against the vaunted Los Angeles Rams defense and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and those boys. So this is going to be one of those heavyweight games to watch for sure. This is going to be something that I think may spill out into a little aggression after the plays, and these two teams don't like each other. There's a lot of animosity amongst each other. Obviously, division rivals fighting for the top of the division, fighting for playoff rankings, and with all the volatile personalities that the Los Angeles Rams have on the defensive side of the ball, and how volatile we've seen DK Metcalf can be, I expect some fireworks in this game for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this one short because I don't expect much out of this game. Cooper Kupp is out for a while. It's just Robert Woods. I know Seattle's defense is abysmal, so that gives the Rams offense some hope. But the Rams offense has been subpar compared to the bar they've set over the last few years with Sean McVay. Like these guys have been studs in this offense, and now that Todd Gurley's gone, Brandon Cooks is gone, it seems like everybody is kind of doesn't know what to do with themselves. So I would expect that the Rams put up a fair fight, but Seattle's offense is just way too powerful for this Rams defense. They have definitely not been performing well this season. I don't expect them to be able to handle Seattle. I think this should be a blowout. I would put this at least a double-digit win for the Seattle Seahawks.
See, you think that, but again, these divisional matchups, they play so different. They play, like, these games are so hard to... I mean, when you looked at the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills, going into that game, we were like, the Patriots have no chance. This is, going to be an easy game. This game will be over maybe by the third quarter, and we'll call it there. But New England stuck around. They were with Buffalo all the way around. We see it time and time again. I mean, again, you can look at the Saints Buccaneers game from this past week. It's the same exact thing. These divisional games, they play differently, and there are times where things that should never happen end up happening. So I would almost be a little weary to say that the Seahawks are going to, they should absolutely bludgeon the Rams, but I don't believe that's going to be what we end up getting. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. This is, yeah, I know, I agree with you that a lot of divisional matchups are tough, as we just saw on Sunday Night Football. They can play out very differently, and just because it's a divisional matchup, it's not always going to be a competitive one. So I would, this isn't going to be another Buccaneers loss for the Rams, but I expect the Rams to put up maybe 14 points in this game. I just, with the loss of Cooper Kupp, yeah, you have Josh Reynolds and you have Robert Woods, but and Van Jefferson. I just don't think these young guys, these guys who aren't put into that number 2 role and putting Robert Woods into that clear-cut number 1 role, I don't think it's going to be an easy transition for him. I don't think it's going to play out like a lot of people think it will, and that's why I don't think it'll be as competitive as most divisional matchups are.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to say the least. But like I said, these are the 3 matchups that we've handpicked that we are interested to watch and interested for this week. I think I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about the all 3 of these matchups, or let us know what matchup you're most interested in watching this weekend, because there's a whole hell of a lot of great football that's being played out there, and a lot of teams aren't getting the recognition they deserve. So shout out which game you're going to be focused on. Let us know if we can pan away from NFL Red Zone, or if we should focus on Red Zone to find that matchup. We definitely want to be able to do so.